What is going on, everybody? It's Tuesday night, and it's the first Reviews with Rich live. You might have seen it's a different setup today because my webcam isn't working and neither is my mic. So I'm using my AirPods. So I hope you can hear me and see me okay. So thank you very much for joining me. It's Tuesday night. It's Reviews with Rich live. And we're going to be talking about all sorts of stuff that's happened in pop culture and in film-related stuff as well, for film news. So I can't do it on my own, even though sometimes I will be doing it on my own. Tonight, I will be joined by my two buddies. They are Mr. Agent Silver Fox. Hey, how are you?
Good. All good.
You all right?
How's you?
Good. I'm all right. Good. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, been busy week at work. So no, it's good to stream with you again. So looking forward to it.
It's always a pleasure, brother. Thank you. Your setup is looking quite impressive behind you right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's looking pretty spicy. It looks awesome. I'm very impressed. Yeah, it looks amazing.
I'm down the dock swinging the handbag, paying for it all.
Oh, yeah, I bet you are.
It gets harder as you get older.
Get a bit creaky. Tonight also we will be joined by Peter. Hey up, buddy, how are you?
Not so bad, mate, not so bad. Yeah, impressive looking setup you've got there, Mr. Silver Fox. It's rather sexy. Very cool. Looking forward to this, Rich. Lots to talk about. So excited to get into this. It's going to be fun.
A lot to talk about, and this is going to be the first of hopefully very many live streams that we're going to be doing together, where it's going to be talking about film news. I know there's a lot of people just kind of stick to the 1/6 stuff, but for me, where my passion is my film stuff and film knowledge, and kind of just having a good old chat about what's coming up, what's happening currently in Hollywood as well. We won't be touching on certain things that's happened over the weekend in regards to a certain comedian. I don't want to be talking about that. So we're going to be having a right good chat today and a right good laugh as well. So for those people who are out there already who have not subscribed, if you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, that would be great. But also if you can also subscribe to Agent Silver Fox Instagram and also Triple G Comics' YouTube as well. He does fantastic content and a lot more content than me. He's obviously got far more time than I do. Yeah. But yeah, so I appreciate everyone joining us today. We've got some comments. We've got some people here. James T. Keegan. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. We'll be having you on one time. It was very certain near future, so it'll be good to see you. Pie Strax. Hey, buddy. And everyone's saying hello to each other. Katie, my lovely wife. Hey, hubby. There you go. There's a couple of really nice comments with each other, talking to each other and everything. So, quick thing which I thought to tell you, over the weekend, we went to the circus. Took my daughter the first time ever to the circus. And it was wonderful. And it was in the Woollerton Park grounds, which is where they filmed The Dark Knight Rises. And I was thinking to myself, you've got yourself the origin story of a Grayson there, of a Dick Grayson, of a Robin. Yeah. You got the circus on the grounds of Wayne Manor, and there you go. But I just thought that was a funny little thing to say. So if anything happened, get yourself up there, get yourself in that back cave. So I thought it was funny, but with some fantastic stuff. We saw some great stuff. James T. Tegan says, Jesus, Rich, your sub shot up quick. That's the advantage of shorts, I'm afraid. I don't know if they're any good subscribers, but yeah, they have shot it well and truly. My actual brother, James, says, can't wait to see this, brother. Hey, brother, thank you very much for tuning in. So, yes. So, first of all, have you guys got anything to bring up, anything that you've seen in the last 7 days that you want to talk about, anything that you've gone, I've seen this and it was shite, or I've seen this and it was amazing? Is there anything in particular that you want to talk about?
For me, and I know we're going to get into it, Ahsoka has been a bit of a revelation for me. So I'm really, really looking forward to talking about that. But also, and it's a program that I never thought I would watch, but One Piece. I don't know if you guys have seen any of One Piece.
Seen it, but I've heard very, very good things. No. Yeah,
I loved it. And I don't know why, but do you know what I mean? I don't know. It was just easy, silly fun, but I absolutely loved it. So yeah, that was very cool. Very cool.
Very good. Agent Silver Fox, Ian.
Yeah, apart from what we're going to talk about, I've been rewatching for all mankind, prepared again for the 4th season that's coming out. And for anybody that's not seen it yet, I highly, highly recommend it. It is awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah,
Like,
it's something that I really want to get into. Something I want to get into. I have to try and,
it's special. Me and Lucy watched again, because we watched quite a lot of things. We're quite late watching Hijack, so we just finished that as well. Which we talked about, Rich.
We did,
I thought it started off really strong and then tapered off, but I still enjoyed it. But,
it stole a little bit from Casino Royale. I think I'm repeating myself on your. Is it your head? Is your headset or is it me? I can hear myself talking after a second. It stopped anyway. It got a bit Casino Royale in terms of the kind of doing the whole crashing the plane to sink the stocks. Because that's from Casino Royale. That's what they tried to do at the beginning. But I enjoyed Hijack. I think it got silly near the end, but it was great. I really enjoyed that.
Sorry, Rich, was that the Idris Elba thing? Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
On Apple TV. Apple TV Plus. Apple TV do some fantastic stuff, and a lot of it goes under the radar. One thing that I want to say to everybody out there, and there'll be stuff that I'll be talking about on my channel long term, but a show called Blackbird with Taron Egerton, and it is unbelievably good. And it was something that kind of people didn't really talk about that much. And it's a true story where a drug dealer gets sent to prison.
Yeah, sorry, I was
brain,
when you were talking there. I watched that.
You're thinking the Irish one, You're thinking of something else.
No, I watched that with my son because my son saw it on TikTok or something. I don't know what the hell he was watching, but he saw something. So we binge watched that a couple of months back. It is phenomenal.
How amazing! Phenomenal. Yeah. We watched C as well with Jason Momoa. That finished recently on Apple TV Plus as well. So there's all sorts of stuff out there that I think, which is going to be a video that I'll be covering in a couple of weeks about kind of how I'm now consuming my media and how films and stuff like that is kind of, because it's so easy to doom scroll, so easy to just to go through what's on Netflix, what's on Prime, what's on this, what's on that, and ignore the primo stuff that's out there. So thank you very much for everybody who is stopping by so far. It's really nice to see, and I appreciate the support. We're going to be talking some film news. So let me get the banner up. You can tell I had some technical issues at first. So today we're going to be talking about some Deadpool 3 rumors, the creator first reactions, the Crow remake, El Muerto being cancelled, and Lando movie. So we'll also be talking about some other stuff later on, but this is the stuff that we talk about under the movie news section. So first of all, there are probably too many rumors at the moment going out there for what's going on for the Deadpool 3. A lot of it, there's some scoopers and whatever, and it's kind of like, okay, really? And obviously there's a strike going on at the moment as well. So it's kind of becoming a bit of a free-for-all in terms of this person's been rumored for this certain part, and it's very similar to what happened with the Multiverse of Madness, where there was all these rumors, this person's going to appear, that, and then when it actually happened, there was a massive disappointment because some of the stuff that people were hoping for wasn't there, and I think that is part of what I'm going to be talking about as well in a bit. But apparently, X-23, she's all grown up, might be appearing in Deadpool 3, as will Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter's own. You see, the boy's got in some serious shape at the moment, and he has been a favor for a lot of people to turn into Wolverine. I don't think he will be long term. I think it might be a little nod and wink to the fan community out there that have been fan casting, very similar to what they did with John Krasinski with Mr. Fantastic. Any thoughts on this, guys, with these rumors? Have you heard anything similar?
Yeah, so I actually did a video on this a couple of weeks ago, and I think my thumbnail was Triple G to start in Deadpool 3, because there was just that many people have been rumored now. It's beyond belief. I think the latest one that I saw, and I think it's pretty much confirmed, is that Channing Tatum, they've managed to get a cast list to say that his body double is in it or something.
Really? So he'll be playing Gambit.
Gambit, yeah. Which I think is great.
First
off, she looks phenomenal. I hadn't realized she was well, she would be. She's all grown up now. I'd love to see X-23 back. I thought she was amazing.
Yes.
Daniel Radcliffe, I love him. And he's actually the proper height for Wolverine. Wolverine's supposed to be short. He's not meant to be Hugh Jackman height. You know what I mean? I think you're right, Rich. This would be a cameo. They're not going to get him to play Wolverine long term. But yeah, I think this would be great. I'm looking forward to this movie.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I really love what they've done with the Deadpool franchise. Obviously, it's now over with Marvel Studios. This is set before Logan, because obviously she was a little one in Logan. Logan's set in 2029 or 2028, I think it is, which is probably by the time this film comes out. But the actual way it's going to be set is going to be like present day. Ian, have you seen this? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not sure about Daniel Day-Lewis. I was what you said, Jesus. Daniel Radcliffe. I get that about the height and he's bulked up and all that stuff, but there was that initial outrage about Hugh Jackman, right? Because he's tall and all that stuff. I can't right now. It will take me a little bit of time to get out of that mindset. I just see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Personally, I'm on the fence about whatever role. There's so much that's been going on rumor wise with this, and what all these cameos. I'm kind of just being honest. I'm worried with the writer's strike and the executives getting too involved in this, even though you know before Ryan Reynolds has had like a tight grip on Deadpool, but I don't know. I'm a little bit worried. I'm excited about it, but because stuff being thrown up like Wesley Snipes, and there was still comments going on about that, right? It's like,
I think you're going to get a whole host of very, very minor kind of 2-minute, 3-minute cameos. Because what they're going to do, I think, is you guys read Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. I don't know if you guys read.
I think I read the first. Yeah, I do. I read. I think I read the first one. I kind of got it after the first one. To be fair, the first issue. But I think. Well, apparently it's a love letter to the Fox universe. It's saying goodbye to that. It's finishing that off. And obviously, there's a lot of people who have played different iterations of the X-Men throughout the franchise. I think we're going to see Ian McKellen. I think we're going to see Patrick Stewart and all that kind of stuff. I think we're going to see all of those. But I am concerned that sometimes putting a cameo in masks actually good storytelling. And I think sometimes it can be just let's just get that person out there. Let's do that. Let's everyone clap in the theater and then not actually focus on the good story. James, my brother, just said they need to give Gambit his own film. I really hope so too, bro. I think they had Channing Tatum. He was cast as Gambit, and then they end up cancelling it. But I think he will appear, and I think that if they do the X-Men properly in the Marvel and the MCU, they just have to start a whole fresh. Everybody, clean slate, everybody.
You see, I'm thinking that it's not necessarily a love note to Fox. It's more or less a wiping of the slate. So I think because did you see the images of the destroyed Fox symbol? And all that. So I've got a feeling Deadpool is going to be hunting down these other versions of characters we've seen and bumping them off, which would be a fun movie.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. So that's one, and then we've got another one, which is. All right. It's Carl Urban to play Wolverine as a variant as well. So obviously, it's anybody who would have been fan casting on the internet. There's been a lot of rumors on that. The thing is, as well, let's be fair. There's a writer's strike and there's an actor's strike. So there's a lot of people, including myself, that are struggling for content. So there's going to be stuff like this where there's going to be people grasping for straws and going, he looks a bit like Wolverine, let's get him in, just as a kind of a little scoop, as it were, and that might got cut and all that kind of stuff. So I think there might be little bits and bobs like that. But I like Carl Urban a lot. I think he's fantastic in The Boys. He's the funny accent. He doesn't sound English at all. I don't know what he's trying to do, but he's good in that. But he's just fantastic. So I think he's got the gruffness. He could play that 100%, even if it's just for a quick scene. And
he's phenomenal in Dread. I don't know if you guys have seen Dread.
Haven't seen Dread. Would you recommend it?
Oh, absolutely, mate. If you like, really? I like Judge Dredd, but even if you don't like Judge Dredd, it's just a good kind of action cop kind of movie. He's superb in it.
Yeah. I really like the back in the day in the 90s, of course, the Sly.
That's the one I prefer.
But obviously that wasn't very faithful to the comics. But there were some bits in actually with the Wasteland and stuff like that. But I quite enjoyed that. I think it would be worth a rewatch actually one day. But yeah, I like Carl Urban a lot. I think he's a great actor. Obviously, he's great in Lord of the Rings as well. But we also have some not very shocking news that El Muerto has been cancelled by Sony. Absolute zero surprise with this one. So for everyone who doesn't know, El Muerto is a villain in the Spider-Man universe that's owned by Sony. They had the famous, who I've never heard of, Bad Bunny, who was in Bullet Train, who basically pulls that face the whole film. And he was signed to play El Muerto, who's basically, I think he starred in like 2 comics in Spider-Man. Not very well-known villain at all. And so they had a film in mind, and that has now been cancelled. Any surprises there for you guys?
No. The biggest surprise for me,
they announced it.
It's an absolute. Nobody was asking for this. Like you say, he's getting 2 comic books in minor. Yeah, nah, not interested.
No one was asking for this, and
like you, Rich,
rather cancelled it.
Like you, Rich, and again, it's just because I am not down with the kids. I haven't got a clue who he is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
less to us, I guess.
Yeah, I only knew him from Bullet Train, and like I said, the only face he pulls is the whole film. So there's nothing new.
I'm just he's the guy. He's the guy who everybody gets bumped off of his wedding, isn't he? Is that him?
Yes. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Tremendous film. I love Bullet Train. It's a great film. Yeah.
Great film. Yeah, I think Aaron Taylor Johnson's very good in it as well. Yeah. I think he could be quite good as a Bond, maybe long term. I think as well, maybe. What were you going to say? Have you seen Bullet Train?
Yeah, I've seen Bullet Train. It was a wee while ago. It was okay.
It's all right. Okay. Yeah, it's all right. It's I enjoyed the action. I think it relied too much on being a bit of a Guy Ritchie wannabe, but I enjoyed it. We also have some news which I knew was happening because I knew they were going to make it. It was going to be made originally with Luke Evans, which I like the sound of. Obviously, it originally starred Brandon Lee, where he died on set. As a horrible accident that happened there on set of The Crow. They are now remaking it with Bill Skarsgård. And this is a makeup of him. That's a fan art, but I think it looks pretty good. And it's being confirmed that it's already been filmed, and they've actually bought the rights for it, and it will be released next year. I've got El Muerto still as the banner, but it doesn't matter. Any did you guys see The Crow? Did you read the original comics?
Yep, read it all. Love the movie. Love Brandon Lee. Bruce Lee's my hero. Hence why I took up martial arts. A big fan of Brandon Lee as well. Movies like Rapid Fire, I think, are underrated. Right. But I love. And it's tragic what happened to his dad and then him on set. It's quite spooky.
Yeah.
So I love how Brandon played Eric Draven. I thought he was fantastic. I love the darkness. I'm curious about this.
Yeah.
I just hope he doesn't have a goofy side to it. I don't know. I might be odd in this. I think he could be quite interesting on it. I like him as an actor. All depends on, for me, the director and the script.
Of course, yeah. I've to hand, which I can probably confirm in a second, but they've got a lot of faith behind it. They have changed it so many times as to who was going to star as him, and they've ended up obviously with Bill, who obviously does a fantastic job in John Wick 4 as Pennywise the Clown. So he's a damn good actor. But I would be very, very interested, and there's some big shoes to fill, because obviously they've tried to do it a couple of times afterwards in various successes. But obviously the comics is obviously incredibly dark, and what happened to the author and how obviously he had to kind of process his guilt with everything in his guilt and his grief into what happened with his partner and stuff to make this comic. So it was an amazing story. I won't go into it on here, but obviously you guys know because you read it, but it's worth, for those people out there who have not read it or read the story behind it, it's definitely worth reading, and it definitely puts a different perspective on it for a lot of people out there. But obviously, what happened with Brandon Lee, it's awful what happened.
This is another interesting one for me in that, and again, it's a long time since I've seen it, so I might be bigging it up in my head, but for me, the original Crow movie is perfection. I don't know how interested I am in seeing another version of it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, I think he's a tremendous actor. I absolutely adored him in John Wick. But I don't know. I have a hard time looking at him in comparison to Brandon Lee, if that makes sense. They're very different in style and stuff. It's a comic movie, so I'll go and see it. Absolutely. But yeah, I'm not sure about this one.
Who was it? Brandon Lee. I can't recall. I think there was like 3 people up for that part, and Brandon Lee was the underdog, and he just blew them away.
Wow! Yeah.
And I can't remember who it was. It's 2 famous actors, and I can't recall who they were. But from years ago, he definitely blew them away, and he got the part.
Wow.
I just can't recall.
And what a performance. I mean, incredible performance in that movie.
Oh yeah. I'll have to have a look into that one. That's an interesting one. A bit of folklore as well, because obviously whoever didn't get it, they could have had the same fate that he had.
Same exactly.
Everything like that. So that's very interesting. Yeah. So that's quite a dark what if, I guess, really, an alternative universe when that didn't happen. But yeah, there's a lot of shady stuff went on behind that. I think obviously The Crow is very 90s, the way that the film is. It's very 90s. So I think if they're going to make it more relevant now, they make it present day, I think. Very different fashions and everything else involved with that. So I think that'd be quite interesting as well, what they do with it. But it could be, looking at that mock-up, obviously it looks a bit feminist, but it looks great. I think it looks great. So yeah, that could be a nice little change up of the comic book genre as well. I think that might be needed.
Just had a quick look, Rich. I can only find one, but apparently Johnny Depp was in the running for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That wasn't a name that
wasn't one of the ones you.
But yeah, I can't recall who. Yeah, but there was definitely 2 from memory. Maybe the chat knows. I don't know, but I'll look after the show. I'm curious, but it's definitely in my head because I'm a big Crow fan. So
yeah. There were some people in the chat saying, including my brother, said, "Can't wait for Mahershala Ali to play Blade." I can't wait for that. They're having some major problems at the minute. They've had to rewrite it left, right, and centre, change it up, and there's been a lot of people obviously lost and stuff during the process. And he's brought in Nick, I can't pronounce his surname, from True Detective, who wrote True Detective. So I think they're in safe hands now. So I think what happens with him. I haven't seen there's a film that he stars in Apple TV Plus as well, which looks really good. It's quite depressing, but he's obviously he's double Oscar winner as well. So it's I really look forward to seeing him as Blade. It'd be unbelievable.
But please, Marvel, just give a proper, like the original Blade. That original Wesley Snipes movie is phenomenal. What two are still some of the best superhero movies we've had. Give us something like that, please.
I know.
Yeah.
I've only just noticed behind you, Peter, you have He-Man looking badass and the Battle Cat. That looks amazing.
Oh.
God, James, if you're still watching, look at that.
Mondo Battle Cat. That's from Mondo.
Wow.
Yeah. Comes with 4 head sculpts.
Nice.
Yeah, that's hefty, boy, isn't it? Wow. Sorry, I just caught my attention. Then I had to bring that up.
Rich, Phil, The Empire Strikes. I think he's right on one. River Phoenix, I think, was one.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's another tragic tale, isn't it?
Yeah.
Again. Yeah.
Oh, in fact, yeah. And Christian Slater. That's the two. Yep.
Yeah. Oh.
River Phoenix and Christian Slater.
Well done, babe. Well done. Yeah. Jesus.
I don't know if I can picture Christian Slater in it, mate.
No, me neither.
But you think
he does a very good Jack Nicholson impression, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's playing Jack Nicholson's all the time.
Yeah.
But no, that's really interesting. That very much a what if. Yeah, River Phoenix, Johnny Depp, and then so Ryan Gosling was as was Bradley Cooper, was going to be the Crow as well at one point. But obviously they fell out due to creative differences as it always goes. But interesting stuff's happening, and we've had something which I have never asked for this. I don't think many people have, but. Lando, instead of being given a Disney Plus series, you last saw in 2016. Was it 2016 in Solo?
Yeah.
They've been threatening a spin-off film ever since. Now, in my opinion, I think Solo is not a bad film. I think they released it too quickly after The Last Jedi. It was like 6 months later, where they should have waited a year. Because it was supposed to be like every December they were going to have a Star Wars film, and instead they ended up releasing it like a Marvel film. So they did like six months later a spin-off, and then the main one and all that kind of stuff. So they did The Last Jedi, then 6 months later released this. I like Donald Glover. I think he's a great actor. I think he does a good job in Solo as Lando. I'm trying to say Mando when I'm saying it, I'm not bothered about this at all. I think it's more content than an actual movie. I think it's just we've got an opportunity to maybe put something on Disney Plus. What do you guys think to this? Because I'm not massively sold, I'll be honest.
I agree, and I think Phil in the chats hit the nail on the head for me. Obi-Wan should have been a movie, and this would be a TV series. Yeah,
100%.
That's what I feel. Totally.
Absolutely with you. I have to say I enjoyed Solo. It was a good movie, but I'm kind of getting tired of content in movies that's wedded to the past. I love the past, don't get us wrong, but give us some new content. It hasn't got to be around the original characters anymore.
Nostalgia every 2 minutes and stuff like this, and that's one thing we'll talk about, I guess, with the Ahsoka thing today, what happened last week. But I am very intrigued. The post Return of the Jedi and before Force Awakens, that period of time is very interesting to me. Anything between the prequels and the original, I'm not bothered about anymore. That's all done. They're not. There's no sense of danger or anything like, because that certain character will survive because they're in this and they're in that and all that kind of stuff. There's no real sense of danger. And with this, it will be a nice. I mean, maybe they've just gone. These shows are costing us a fortune. Like prime example with Secret Invasion costing $220 million. they could just put. It's insane. It's just so bad.
Mad.
It's insane. You can't tell though. It doesn't look anything like that on screen. Apparently, there was because they had to do extensive reshoots. Yeah. So maybe they've gone instead of doing that, and let's actually do a movie and put it on Disney Plus, and it'd be 2 hours of a heist. Maybe might be interesting. But yeah, for me, it's not gonna do it for me at all. Maybe they got a good story and stuff. Fair enough. But yeah. My wife just said, don't forget to mention your favorite movie we watched yesterday. We watched Barbie yesterday. Let me tell you, that's not my favorite film. Dear God.
Oh, thank you, Rich. Thank you. No, I'm saying that seriously because I went to see that movie with my wife and my daughter and my son.
Yeah.
And I came out and I said, it didn't entertain us. I didn't find it overly amusing. And Christ, I was ripped to shreds for being a sexist pig.
Really?
I've missed the point of the story. But no, I just didn't think it was very good. Do you know what I mean?
I think the message that's there is fine.
It's fine.
There's no problem with that. But the delivery of it, it was just so weird and so random. And there was I didn't get anything from it. I didn't like. My wife was the same. So
yeah.
Maybe she's sexist too, but like I'm not at all, by the way, just for the record.
I mean, I don't think
just for me, I just didn't feel anything from it.
Yeah.
It just was a bit silly, and it didn't do anything for me at all. And I got no problem with any kind of messages that it had or anything like that. But I just think it was banging. It was very heavy-handed when they went into the real world. I thought it was very heavy-handed and a bit unrealistic, to be honest. Yeah. And then the Barbie world, that was all right, but it just got very, very silly and just, not for me at all. So anybody out there who did see Barbie and didn't enjoy it, you're not alone, and you don't have to be you don't have to be cancelled for that. Keep sex has nothing to do with this like this movie.
Absolutely.
My wife said 1 star, so thank you, babe. I appreciate you helping me out there with the support on that one. So it wasn't a great film, and I bought it as well on iTunes. So for my own sins, 20 quid down drain.
Some of the songs are nice. So I did like some of the songs, but no.
I enjoyed the Matchbox 20 song that they all sang on the beach, Bush, and I thought that was good. But yeah, it just didn't do anything for me. But anyway, can't wait for the Ken sequel. Well, I think Ryan Gosling's in with a shot for best supporting actor. I think he's going to get something, but not for me, I'm afraid. But something that has come out, which is if you've seen the trailer, you've pretty much seen the whole film. But The Creator, directed by Gareth Evans. Edwards, because there's Gareth Edwards who does the Oriental films, the ones with it. Where was it? Which fight? It was. There was a film.
The Tower Block ones. Is that one?
Yes. Yeah, that one.
The Raid. The Raid.
Yeah, The Raid. Thank you. Yeah, unbelievable films. So this is. It says in the top of the poster from the director of Rogue One, in brackets, the one who got kicked off. The one who got kicked out, and someone else finished the film for them, and but that's actually what happened. So obviously this guy, he knows his apples, he knows his scale, his sense of scale is always fantastic with his direction. I always feel, especially what he did when they were putting the saucer part into the Death Star in Rogue One, and you got that real sense of scale and how things actually big things are. Obviously, he did Godzilla as well, and he did a film called Monsters. So he knows his stuff. Exactly. He knows his stuff. I just thought it was a little joke there, but it's starring Denzel Washington's son, and he is. I'm yet to be sold on him. He's. It's sad to be obviously. It's sad to be kind of compared to your dad. I don't mean to in any way, but I think he's kind of, in some ways, he's not kind of got himself his own identity in his form of his acting. It's very similar to his dad in certain ways, but obviously a very different version of it. But this is coming out next week. It's a film that I am really keen on. and there has been some very, very positive reactions from the media. Some people who've seen it on initial screenings. Now, pinch of salt, because we've heard this before many a time, for people who are paid to go to these premieres, to go to these screenings, all expenses paid, they come out and they say, The Flash is the greatest comic book movie for the film of all time. They say, best thing since sliced bread, the best DC film since The Dark Knight, all that kind of stuff. They say all this stuff. So take it with a pinch of salt, but this looks quite positive in terms of this film, because I don't know about you guys, there is not very much to look forward to in the next few months in terms of the cinema. And this is actually coming out at probably quite a good time, because this could be something that could actually make a bit of an impact. Like I said, they have shown you a lot in the trailer. They have shown you that little kid is the AI king, as it were, or the main AI source and stuff like that. So maybe they have shown too much, but it does look impressive. And they are very much leaning on the AI stuff, which has obviously been very topical of late as well, which I think Dead Reckoning didn't do enough of in terms of their marketing material. But have you guys seen this trailer? What do you think to it?
Yeah, for me, the trailer looked very immersive. It looked like something it's a good theatre experience. I liked it. From the trailer, it looks good. The storytelling, that aspect, I don't know yet, but it does visually look very appealing and right up my street. I will go and see it. I won't sit on. I don't trust the reviews like what you said, Rich. I don't. So I do kind of gauge by what I read and what the trailer looks like. The concept's very poignant at the moment, isn't it? So it's got my interest just now. So I'll give this one a shot for sure. I'm kind of hoping that it lives up to what I think it would be, but it looks immersive for me.
It does look great.
I think Ian's bang on. There's in terms of the visual effects, there are some trailers I watch, because let's be honest, guys, going to the cinema these days isn't a cheap outing if you're going for a day out or whatever, you know. But there are some films I watch and I think, do I need to see that on the big screen, or can I wait until that's, at home?
Streaming.
This one, as soon as I saw it, I thought, this is a cinema experience. You need this on the big screen. You need the sound booming. Interestingly for me on this one, this kind of came left field. I hadn't seen any build up to this, or I don't think I was aware of any discussion about it until I saw the first trailer. And then just really, really loved it. Didn't realize it was Denzel's son. Just watched him in Equalizer 3. That's a good movie. I didn't even realize his son was an actor, to be honest. But I'll definitely see this one.
So you've seen Tenet?
Yep.
I tried. I gave up with Tenet, I have to be honest. It's
him from Tenet.
Oh, is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's also in Ballers as well, with Dwayne Johnson, which was pretty good show.
I quite like Ballers.
The wheels fell off it near the end, I think, but it was a good show. Dwayne Johnson's very good in it. He's actually a bit darker in it, and he's a bit more believable and fallible as well. I think he's a bit more less Dwayne Johnson-y. I think he's a bit more. He's less than Mr. Perfect. He's actually got some foibles and stuff, and I think it's quite a good portrayal in that. But it's good. It's interesting. But yeah, he's like the main quarterback or linebacker, I think he is in it. So it's he's good, but like I said, sometimes he's very Denzel. But it'd be interesting. I think this will be his big move into the bigger films now, because obviously Tenet didn't really do it for a lot of people. I watched it and I was like, Jesus, I'm going to put subtitles, because there was a lot of it was too complicated. I think it died under its own weight of story. I think it's just been too complicated for the sake. So just before we do, we're going to go into a couple of more. Everyone's saying the raid. Sorry about that. So his name is John David Washington, leading man thoughts. James, you're singing from my hymn sheet. Very. I don't know if he's a leading man to me. I might be proven wrong with this, but I think obviously he's done very well he got Oscar nominated, I think, for Black Klansman, and so obviously since then he's done pretty well. And so yeah, said Price. I heard a few mentions on John Campy's show and checked out the trailer and thought, wow. But I agree, one for the cinema. Yeah, 100%. I think one for the cinema. Blue Beetle was not one for me for the cinema. Neither was Barbie or a few others like Quantumania, for example. So
I like Blue Beetle.
I know you do, but I'm going to see it. I'm going to see it on streaming, but I'm not going to.
I love a hot toy of Blue Beetle. I'm not a massive fan of the character, but I would like a hot toy of Blue Beetle. I'll have to see.
Have you seen the McFarlane one? They've done the 12-inch McFarlane statue, which they're fairly cheap. I've got most of their stuff, and it's all like 30 for £40. So it's worth having that in the meantime, and it's nice. But yeah, that looked pretty good. The costume looked good, but I think it's the last we'll see of Mr. Blue Beetle. But he said, let's not talk about Blue Beetle. I've not seen it. I can't comment. But I didn't see it at the cinema, so I think that will tell you something. Also, we're expecting this week, I think the 23rd, which I think is this Friday or Saturday, new trailer for Doctor Who.
Oh, excited.
So excited. So for everyone who doesn't know out there, at the end of the last season, the Doctor regenerated back into David Tennant, which is my favorite Doctor Who. And so we're going to get at least 2 or 3 specials.
3. Is it 3 specials, I think?
3 specials, and I think they'll have the new guy in between as well. But yeah, so we're going to have 3 specials where David Tennant is going to be back, which is going to be unbelievable. I think it starts from November. So watch this space. I think you and I, Peter, might have to do something. Because I absolutely love the show, and I'm so glad he is back. So, Ian, are you a Doctor Who fan at all? I take it no with that reaction.
I am massive Doctor Who fan in terms of the old Doctor Who.
Old school, yes.
And I loved when David Tennant played Doctor Who. After that,
went down.
I really did not like it whatsoever. Like, really, really did not like it. I thought he was fantastic. So I'll be back and I'll watch this because I really like him.
I liked Matt Smith. It took me a while to warm up to him. And then it was Peter Capaldi, who I liked a lot, but I think the writing didn't do him enough justice. I think. And then Jodie Whittaker, I washed my hands with it after a bit. Even though she's from up north, even though that they were a bit set in Sheffield and stuff, but 'twas not for me. I think
she was again, but she was, I think, screwed over by really bad writing. Really bad writing for some of the episodes.
I agree.
Yeah. That last episode when she passes the torch is phenomenal.
Yeah. That is very good. That is very good. I think the guy who played the Master didn't do it justice either. I think he was very erratic. I think he was like a little boy, and it just didn't really come across menacing enough for me.
Yeah, I think it was for me. It was the whole cameo stuff. You know, seeing some of the. I mean, I don't know if you've seen that one, Ian. So no spoilers, but you get some past renditions, shall we say, and it's beautiful. It's really good.
It is. It's done very well, actually. So we're now going to go on to something which I think Ian might have something a bit spicy to say about this. But we're going to be talking about the drop of the Aquaman 2 trailer. Ian, before I even start saying anything about this film, do you want to talk about it?
Okay. Try and be positive, Ian.
You don't have to be. Just say how you feel. This is completely honest. You tell us how you feel. Go on.
Okay. So looking at the trailer, my expectations were quite low based on what we've seen coming out of the pipeline of recent times. Then, I really like Jason Momoa. So I saw the trailer and I honestly put my hands in my face like that. I thought the CGI was shocking.
Absolutely.
One example was when he said, building a bridge. and he jumped over. It reminded me of Indiana Jones at the start running on the train, that poor CGI. You see him just spring up, and I thought, oh my goodness. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a hater. I want to love movies and I want other people to love movies. Summary, I've got very, very low expectations of this. And the fact that they put in, like, it was like a nanosecond of Mera, Amber Heard, that probably annoyed me more than anything. I could speak more on that.
Of course. You can also say, why the hell we haven't got any more Johnny Depp stuff? Why? Do you know what I mean? Hollywood have just given up on him, which is just insane. Sorry, carry on the trailer.
Yeah, so the trailer just looked really awful. And going back, see, the first movie I liked, apart from bits at the end that reminded me of Power Rangers. I'm not a Power Rangers person. It's not my thing, and no offense to anybody that loves that. I know there's a big cult on that. It felt a bit like that for me, and then the Black Manta coming back, and I'm bored. I just saw the trailer and thought the CGI looks rotten. I guarantee the script's garbage, and then I saw Amber Heard and I just went,
see you later.
However, obviously I wouldn't want to write everything off. But I've just got low expectations. That's what I've got from this, and ultimately they're going to reboot, right? So I just feel I will not go and see this at the movies. Why should I spend my time and money on something that's not going to develop?
I think things can. That's something I've heard quite a few times with people saying, "Oh, the reason why these last 7 DC films have flopped, even without the announcement of James Gunn taking over and them doing a reboot, or that's because they're doing a reboot and there's nothing else going on from that point." They can have standalone films and be good. The problem is with a film like this, they have butchered it. This was supposed to come out beginning of this year. It was supposed to be last year before, and then it got moved, and then it was going to be before The Flash, because at the end of this film, he was going to run into Bruce Wayne, and that Bruce Wayne was going to be Michael Keaton, and it'd be like setting up some intrigue, and then why he's in a different universe, etc. And then they refilmed it, which was last year, to go and include Ben Affleck being in it at the end of it. But now they're cutting that. And so they've done so much. They've just messed it up. There's stuff we're going to talk about later on, I guess, about the DC if we've got time. But I think for me, looking at the trailer, I'll break it down a bit more, but I think there's going to be some good elements in it, but I think it looks very much like a Thor: The Dark World. Like the previous villain is obviously it's his brother, very similar to Loki and Thor, and they're being together, and so he's doing the same thing with Ocean Master, and it's just little things like that where it's just a bit. It seemed very Marvel, which is no problem being Marvel if it's his own thing, but it's not. It seems like a knockoff of Thor: The Dark World to me. There were some good shots in it. I agree. A lot of it there was some really shoddy bits of CGI. I think the voiceover did it no favors. I think Jason Momoa literally dressing as Jason Momoa, all of this stuff you'll see on his Instagram, that's his hairband that he has because it's something to do with good for the environment. That's his motorbike and that's his jumper. So it's kind of like he's just dressing as himself. Yeah. And I like that he's a dad now, but I'll be interested to see what they do with Mera. A couple of bits like this suit, he's painted over basically his normal suit. Black Manta, I'd like to see a bit more of him. I think he was good in the first one. He was obviously underused in the first film, but I think he's a good actor anyway. I think even though Matrix Resurrections is atrocious, he's good in it. But yeah, say this shot I liked. Where obviously he's commanding this green trident, and then that's obviously taking down I think they're going to kill his dad, and that's the lighthouse where his dad lives. So there's little things like that. So I think it's going to be interesting. It might be a bit more comic booky than what we're used to with some DC stuff of late. It might be a lighter tone, which is maybe what people wanted out there. But Pete, what did you think to this?
So, you know, I've said many times I'm a massive comic book nerd. Aquaman was never one of my top tier characters, if I'm honest. But I thoroughly enjoyed the first movie. It took us by complete surprise. I liked it far more than I was expecting to like it.
Yeah.
I think this film, as you've said, has been absolutely plagued with rewrites, with the negativity around Amber, rightfully so, all that kind of jazz. But I was still kind of rooting for it. I was thinking, oh, come on, it'll be all right. And then the trailer came out and it did absolutely nothing for us. Someone's commented there, that was my first kind of heart stop moment where you see his costume drying in the bathtub. And I just thought, oh, please.
Yeah.
Just stupid. Don't diminish these characters by making them like Thor became, don't make them just the butt of everybody's joke, And I'm with Ian. I'm probably too critical at times of CGI, but it's become a real bugbear of mine. It really winds us up, bad CGI. Because I think the money people are investing in these movies, there's no excuse for it. I rewatched, sorry, I've got us on a rant now. I rewatched the Planet of the Apes trilogy just this weekend with my son. The CGI in that is friggin' amazing.
Yeah.
And then you've got stuff like this in a massive Hollywood show, and
also directed by Matt Reeves.
Absolutely. So, despite all of that, like I say, I'm a comic book nerd, so I will be there on premiere. It's like crack cocaine. I can't help myself. Do you know what I mean? It's like an obsession. So I will be there on opening day, but am I expecting to like it? I don't think so, but I'll watch it.
So for me, I enjoyed the first one. I think there was some excellent CG in it. I think James Wan did a good job. So it was obviously predictable, and it was one of those typical kind of origin movies where he becomes the hero at the end, and then only to tease what it's going to be like in the sequels. But I mean, I have to disagree with what Gareth says here. He says CGI can be fixed before releasing. They need to get the trailer out. The film's coming out in a couple of weeks. They are by all accounts, they have not very much faith in this, and they're not putting that much money or time behind it in terms of marketing. They're just getting it out there because it's just apparently it's not been testing very well. I think if you're going to put some shots out there, bearing in mind they've got 2.5 or 2 hours of a film to put out there, and this has been in the can for a very, very, very long time. So if they've got some bad shots CGI, don't put it in the trailer. Put some good shots in the CGI, because they've been working on it for the last year and a half. So I think that is a bit of a thing that people do say. I'm not saying against you, Gareth, but I'm just saying just generally. That is something that people do say to kind of go, oh, but they can fix it. They ain't going to fix it. It's going to be exactly the same. You watch most trailers when they say that looks dodgy and that bit on the CGI. 9 times out of 10, those shots are exactly the same in the end film. Same with Shazam, Fury of the Gods, exactly the same. There's some shoddy bits in that. There's some shoddy bits in the end film, which is also shite as well. But it looks like a good fun film. Should be treated separately to Justice League. Amber dies 5 minutes into the movie. Spoiler alert if you've seen it, Gareth. I don't think you have, but comic book kills off the son, but it shall be her. Maybe that's how they do it, but I don't think they're gonna. I think by all accounts, it was always going to be Ocean Master and Aquaman's film. I think that was the original intention on that. I hope they don't kill off just for the sake of what's happened. I think if they could just write them out, they don't have to kill them just for the sake and fridge them just for the sake. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see what happens with this film. It's the last DCEU film. Sorry. So this is the last bit of the Zack Snyder legacy, I guess, which is obviously very different and very difficult to kind of like see and to kind of go, okay, well, you got the casting so good, for them to obviously kind of squandle, to kind of really just mess it up so much, and the change of guards left, right, and center, and the different order releases and stuff like that has just messed up the whole thing. And I think people are a bit tired of it all now. I think DC needs to go away for a bit. Blue Beetle flopped massively, and I think the way that they treated the marketing of that one was a bit silly and a bit pandering, I think, as well, in my honest opinion. It was a bit like, hey, you're a Latino, you got to see this, because this is going to be like your Black Panther. And it's like, come on, everybody can see it, enjoy it. It just so happens in the Latino family. Great. That gives more people more views and different experiences of different families and different cultures and stuff. And it seemed a bit pandering, and it looked a bit silly and very, very, very generic. So I might be wrong when I see the film on streaming.
No,
but it's flopped.
I think, I mean, for me, it was a enjoyable, what I would class as a popcorn flick. I didn't have to think hard about it. And but I'm a big, again, you see, I'm a big original Blue Beetle fan, Ted Cord Blue Beetle fan. So it was nice to see some of the links in that. But it's an extremely generic kind of origin bad guy fight story. Do you know what I mean? So it's not going to light the world on fire.
No. Everybody else out there in the chat, what did you think to the Aquaman 2 trailer? Bearing in mind, in England, we say Aquaman, not Aquaman. So, I mean, in America, they say Aquaman. So that's the reason why you think I'm saying it weird.
What do you say in Scotland? What do you say in Scotland?
Waterman.
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 Lovely water.
Lovely H2O.
You'd be fighting Nessie if he was up your neck of the woods, wouldn't he?
Wouldn't he? He'd be riding Nessie's back. Making her his bitch.
There's a good Scottish superhero, right?
Yeah.
The Scottish Claymore on Nessie.
That's it.
The best superhero from Scotland has got to be Supergran, surely, from back in the day. Do you remember Supergran?
Connor McLeod, that's what I would say the best one is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can't argue with
talking
that.
about a remake, aren't they? They're talking about
more
of that.
They've got Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill and the director of John Wick doing it, so that could be very, very interesting. Also, a film which I think is one of my all-time favorite films, by the way.
I have to admit, Henry Cavill in that role has really got me interested. So
yeah, I like Henry Cavill a lot. So Empire Strikes Back says I'll watch it. I like Momoa, so that'll do. Yeah, same with me. To be fair, I like I Am Brewman. That's it. Goodbye, Empire Strikes.
I Am Brew.
I Am Brewman. I Am Brew Fries. Or is it say fried Mars Barman? What? Obviously, I know there's all sorts of stuff up there in terms of like deep fried stuff. Have you had anything like that, Ian? I'm guessing not.
Oh, when I was young, for a bit, there was the deep fried Mars bar. Obviously, deep fried pizza. I'm surprised I'm still here.
I had when we went to Florida. Which park was it? I can't remember. One of the Disney parks. We had deep fried cheesecake. That was an experience. Yeah.
Okay.
Quite nice.
Was it nice?
Yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah.
This took a turn.
Yeah, it did it. That was a random thing to say. Anyway, right. Let us get on to Ahsoka. So, for everyone out there who has not seen episode 5, I'm going to spoil it with my friends here. Everyone hopefully has seen Ahsoka episode 5. I'll talk about my experience so far with Ahsoka. So, I have seen some Clone Wars. I saw the last season of season 7 of Clone Wars. I haven't seen any Rebels. So going into this, I was very much a layman. I love Star Wars. I absolutely love Star Wars. But going into this, I liked her a lot in Mando. Her performance in Mando, I thought she was great. But when she was in this, it felt like it was a completely different person. Because of how incredibly stoic she was. She wasn't massively likable. She just stood there with her arms folded every 2 minutes, just talking platitudes and then just being like very, very reserved, very, very flat. And it took a long time to actually get going this season for me personally. But I think a lot of it was to do with obviously setting up everything from the Rebels cast and people like that. But not a lot happened. And I think a lot of the lightsaber fights were very laborious. And I was not massively sold on the show itself until episode 5. Episode 5 changed a lot in terms of actually when she came back as basically Gandalf the White, because she came back as Ahsoka the White. She got reborn, and she seemed a bit more, as in the way she portrays the character, very similar to how she was in Mando, and a bit more humor, a bit more personality. So for me, the cameos aside, I think her character obviously went through that journey, let go of some of that guilt, because obviously she felt guilty for what happened to Anakin, even though she never said it in the show or said it at any point throughout the series. It was just implied. So for me, that I'm talking about the Ahsoka's actual character and her development and what happened at the beginning and then the end of the episode, how she actually went through a journey, and I very much enjoyed that. What did you guys think?
Let Peter go.
Okay, so I knew her from Mando. I've not watched any of the Clone Wars or Rebels or anything like that, so I did come into this fresh. I did watch a half hour or a 20-minute kind of catch-up video, all you need to know kind of thing. And I'm quite different to you, Rich. I think from day one, I've absolutely loved this. And I don't know if it's just because it's characters I don't know, and that's fresh and new and interesting and exciting to us. I completely get what people are saying about her, because I've heard that said a few times about her being quite stoic. I just assumed that was because she was kind of a rigid Jedi. Do you know what I mean? I didn't.
She basically turned her back on the Jedi Order.
Yeah,
and then she was like, in between both camps. I'm butchering this for everybody out there. I bet everyone's head's exploding. But then she was kind of like a grey Jedi, and then she was in Mando. Then she went to see Luke, where she was herself, and then in this, she just seems so different in terms of she was just like she was very kind of like she'd seen the 70s version of what a Jedi should be like, and then just acted like that, just very stoic, and then actually grew a personality again at the end. So it's just kind of like throughout Rebels and Clone Wars, she was very likable. At first she was very annoying at first, but then people drew to really love her because obviously her development and what happened with the character and stuff, and that was very appealing. And she's regarded as one of the best characters in Star Wars because of that. So sorry. Carry on.
No, absolutely. And I've heard of, so I do a stream with a few guys from America who have a number of them have said very similar things, Rich, to be honest, about a portrayal of the character. But for me, there are characters that I've not seen before, and I'm loving that. I'm loving the lightsaber fights, because that's what I get a lot more pleasure from, I guess, the action side of stuff. Ray Stevenson is just phenomenal. Absolutely. It's such a tragedy that he didn't get to see how his portrayal, I think, is being received, you know. It's just got us interested. It's bits of Star Wars lore that I'm not used to. So my mate calls them the Skywalkers, but they're not other. What do you call them? The Purgle things, the wheels in space, whatever they are.
Space wheels.
Space wheels, the ones that they go on the back of and travel and type of thing. I'm loving them. I thought Anakin was tremendous in this. Again, going back to CGI, I thought the CGI was fantastic. I think there were some of those scenes in episode 5 where it was flickering, and it was flickering between Anakin and Vader, spine chilling, So as you can guess, I'm really enjoying the series. It's probably my favorite Star Wars series. Maybe it's aligned with Andor. I did love Andor for very different reasons. But yeah, I'm loving this. I think it's great.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
Ian, what did you think?
Yeah, so it's quite funny. Obviously, on the Hope Show, I've kind of been reviewing or critiquing, rating each episode. And I've enjoyed all episodes, and but what I did was I said to the guys I watched 1 to 4 back as a whole, and I felt it got even better when I done that because of the story that's there. So for me personally, as Peter says, Ray Stevenson's phenomenal. So Balin and Shinhati, I love the character. I want to know more about them. They just that dark Jedi. I want to know more.
I think he's going to turn. I think he's going to help her out long term. I think
I've got that feeling as well that that could happen, and that's that sense of. But see, I don't need. I've said before to other people, I don't need everything to be tied off. I actually like the sense of wonderment.
Yes, same.
In sci-fi, so I'm like, so I don't try and criticize the story aspect too much because I want to see where it goes, and then watch it, understand it as a whole. You know, you can critique each episode as you see it, but the story needs to unfold for me to then say, right, okay, I'm on board with it or not. That's the way my brain works. But I liked the first few episodes. You know, I was interested in 4. I did love 5. I wasn't the fanboy. I've seen some reviews that everybody was screaming. I really liked it. I thought it's really good. I didn't like what happened to Hayden Christensen years ago. You know, the Star Wars thing. There's a bit of toxic stuff. It's really bad. So I like that he's getting a huge amount of praise. His lightsaber work.
You can tell he was fantastic. Really trained in terms of the films, and obviously he's kept it up a bit as well. I'm pleased for Hayden Christensen. I don't want him just to be brought out at any point just to kind of make a series better, though. I think this should be it now. I think you've seen him. You've had bits of him in that real life Clone Wars, because I think that's a lot of fans out there really wanted that. And I think that's something that people really wanted to see. I think the way that they did that, the girl who played young Ahsoka, she played young Gamora in Infinity War. So she's obviously got quite a CV now. But I think what they did there, it was quite funny because that suit was on offer at Sideshow, the hot toy, a couple of weeks previously. It was like 25% off, and I was like, "Oh, Shella Shanta," like this. And then suddenly he was on in that suit. I was like, "God damn it, he's going to go up in price." I think it's what they did was fantastic with that. I'm glad they did it as like a feature length, because it could have been a film in itself in the way that they did it. I think the way that they have, and I think there's a very reactive nature of a lot of fandoms, especially because Star Wars is in such high regard in terms of its pedigree. People respond, rightly or wrongly, very, very emotionally to it.
Yeah.
And when they released the first 2 episodes, I saw countless YouTube channels and posts basically saying Star Wars was dead. That's it. Dave Filoni's knobbed it up and all this kind of stuff like this, and that's it. It's gone, and all this stuff. And it's up and down roller coaster. A lot of people say it's amazing. A lot of people say people can have their own opinions, and I respect people actually sticking to their guns and saying this was my original thoughts, and then now it's changed because of this. Like for me, if you'd have asked me after the 3rd episode, my brother James would tell you, he'd back this up. I said I'm not bothered. I couldn't give a shit about it, and I couldn't because it was so. Nothing. It did nothing for me at all. And but the 5th episode's really kind of cemented it, and I think what they're going to do further with their characters is going to be great. But yes, I'm really intrigued to see what they do with it. So predictions from Empire Strike says the whales get lost and end up in Faroe Islands and get slaughtered, and Ahsoka will end up in New Asgard. That's great. My prediction is going to be they're going to do Heir to the Empire. They're going to do the Throne trilogy. They're going to basically do that. I think all of this with what happened with Mando, with Boba Fett, and then with this, I think it's all leading to a big Thrawn trilogy kind of crossover thing. And I think they're going to have They're going to have Han. They're going to have de-aged Han. They're going to have de-aged Luke. They're going to have de-aged Leia, brought back from the dead. In that, and I think that's what the Dave Filoni film's going to be. I think it's going to be all those 3 with the new 3, and I think that's what they're going to do. Honestly, that's what I think. What my prediction is. So I think that is a big possibility in terms of, because they've announced they're going to do this movie that Dave Filoni is going to be writing and directing and writing. So I think that's going to be that, in my honest opinion.
How many episodes is this again? Ahsoka?
I think there's about 8, I think, but they won't do the throne thing now. They'll introduce him a little bit, but they'll lead it on to a film.
Absolutely, that's what I was thinking, because I mean they made a big deal of him being in it, but I bet he's kind of last episode reveal to lead into the next movie.
They really should. They really shouldn't do that though, because if they want to see how badass Thrawn is to the general public who have not seen or read the books, I've got them all. I haven't read any of them, but I know about it. And but they've been saying he's such an amazing tactician and all this kind of stuff like this, and you want to see how badass he is, and you don't want to wait till the last episode for them to do that. But yeah, that's just my.
I tell you what else I love, and I am a geek, so you know I'm not attacking any of that geek culture or anything like that. But I've loved the build up and the excitement and all the narrative about who the guy with the Inquisitor blade could be, and oh my god, it's going to be this, it's going to be Stalker, it's going to be no, he's dead, mate. Do you know what I mean? It just ended, you know, and I thought that was really quite brave, really, in some ways. Unless he comes back, mate. Yeah,
I don't think he was. It's just in it, but I think the way that they release this now, in the future, I think if they've got a show like this, if they know it's going to take a while to kind of build up to this point, I think they should just not say dump, but release them a chunk at a time. Maybe do the first 4 or 5. People can watch them, and then they release them again, like later on down the line, the other part, because they've been, like I said, that the fandom has been all over the shop, and just people being very defensive of the property as well, and not seeing it with a real balanced viewpoint. Being blinded by a lot of their fandom of just kind of like because you thought this, you thought that, look at you now, and all this kind of stuff. It's like that's not. It shouldn't be like that. It should just be everyone can enjoy it or not enjoy it, but don't get so emotionally attached.
I got into a good discussion with a good mate of mine who's an absolute obsessor about Star Wars.
Was he?
And he just, even after episode 5, he can't get behind it. And I said, just explain what the change in the law. And I says, well, what do you mean? The change in the story. Back in episode whatever, Yoda said, and he gave us like one line, and that's it. I was like, for Christ's sake, man, you have to kind of, you have to just accept that was a film, 20, 30 years ago now? The story has to develop somehow.
Right. And they were making a lot of it. They were making up on the fly.
Let's be honest, without offending, it wasn't Shakespeare originally. Do you know what I mean? It's sci-fi, isn't it?
End of the day, this franchise is stunning. It came from one person's mind, and then it's been enhanced further with loads of different people and loads of different contributors and creatives. And I think what they've done with it is amazing. I do think, though, they do run the risk of it becoming another MCU, and I mean that in a bad way. And I mean that by it's not event cinema, it's not event things. They need to go back to making Star Wars films. They really do, because that is what they're best at. Rightly or wrongly, I truly believe they can do a Mando, they can do Ahsoka, they can do Andor, do those, but then focus on the big films, because it's going to become difficult for people, the regular people out there who are not geeks, who are not people who consume this all the time, to catch up. I haven't seen half the stuff that Marvel's done on Disney Plus. I haven't seen Miss Marvel. I haven't seen all this stuff because A, I'm not that inclined to see it, and B, there's too much out there. And I think just sometimes it's too much to digest sometimes with things like this and to catch up with. So I think if they did that, I think it'd be good just for the hardcore fans out there to get this content out, but So Empire says there's too much time to digest between episodes. You're right, Rich. Split the season into 2. I agree 100%. I think this could have been the perfect end to the first part of this season, and then maybe in a couple of weeks, because obviously everyone's massively hyped now. Want to quickly say some of the visuals of this was absolutely stunning. The way that they use light, and even like this when they were on the battlefield as well. I mean, this shot here,
yes,
some of the best out there. And I just really, really loved it. I think just really inventive the way they did it. This was Dave Filoni who directed this one. So I think, Empire says, can you imagine Empire? Can you imagine Mando and Ahsoka series of movies? I would love that. I think it'd be great. I think they could really lay the foundation by doing these long form stories and then do a big film, and there'll be enough fan base, enough people behind it, and then people will go back to it for people who didn't catch it the first time around to go back and watch it, and that'll increase more longevity. I think sometimes with this content, you consume it and it's like fast food, and you that was a nice meal. 5 minutes later, you want something else, and it's like that. I think it's the same thing. You watch this stuff and you forget it. This particular show, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying just generally that a lot of the content out there is very much just content and not actual art or anything. But this show is great. It's getting better. I'm looking forward to see what they do. I think I would love to see what the layman thinks, the people who've only just seen the original trilogy and then this. Seeing whales and everything.
Sorry. I was going to say
whales.
Ian, sorry.
Go on.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Rich, I agree. Filoni's going to tie this off because I think it's already out there that he's going to give this link to the Force Awakens, so everything's got to tie off and certain characters' journey and the reason why, they might try and respite a few things. I do think when you think of Boba, Mando, and Ahsoka, they will converge at some point. I'm not saying it's like the Avengers, but there'll be some point that goes there, and Luke and that will be there because I've got to link it to the Force Awakens. The Heir of the Empire, I have read, Thrawn seems different from Rebels. So I'm hoping it's more the Thrawn and Heir of the Empire that comes out of this. It's a business, right? So I think I heard someone say about a multiverse in the Star Wars world. Oh, that would just kill it for me, right?
No, it's a good way to kill a franchise.
Going to another galaxy interests me because we take this story on, and you know that we've got Rey doing other stories, so that line. But there are other galaxies out there, so they can expand on and bring something new, some new content, and evolve. But yeah, don't do a multiverse nonsense. That would kill Star Wars.
Multiverse is just too easy to use now. I was going to say, Rich, you mentioned there about a layperson's view. My wife isn't into Star Wars at all. She's very kind to me. She comes and sees all the movies I see and we watch the same shows and stuff, but she doesn't enjoy them. But she's away. She's away for a few days. So I said to her, "Oh, you're away tomorrow. I'll watch Ahsoka." And she said, "No, I'll watch Ahsoka with you." And that was the first time she's like been bothered by it. So it's obviously she's enjoying it as a layperson. She's enjoying the storytelling.
That's good. So, that's interesting because my wife had never really seen a Star Wars film when she met me, and she saw Force Awakens and she saw Rogue One and not seen anything else since. So it's kind of like, so she's never been that bothered. I'd be interested to see what my daughter long term likes, if she likes Mando and Grogu. My nephews, shout out to Matthew and William, they absolutely love Star Wars, especially Matthew. He's obsessed with Luke Skywalker, so that's just really nice to see that they're only little as well, about 4 and 6, so it's nice to have that kind of next generation picking this up as well. So it's really nice. It's not just going to die with us, as it were. So that's just really nice. But no, that was interesting perspectives. That I think I think with anything like this, I think it's always important to have adult conversations about it. I know there are a lot of people out there who are either too close to it or too easy to jump on the gender politics and stuff like that, or the just general politics behind some of these shows. And for me, I take it as art, and I take it as a piece of media that I consume and I very much enjoy, or I don't enjoy it, and I talk about it. And I think that's how we've got to approach it, and not just be canceling people or kicking off with people just because they have a different opinion. People have to be honest about their opinions, because people won't respect them if they're not. And I think so like, for me, I was completely against the Ahsoka show because I just thought it was a bit boring. And then the 5th episode came along and it tied it up a bit more, and I enjoyed it very much so. And at the end of it, I came out of it thinking, I'm really intrigued to see what they do with this. So it's good, and you don't have to live and die by your original thoughts. So it's quite
absolutely.
So yeah,
totally agree on that, Rich. That I was on a show a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about constructive debate. That healthy engagement.
Yeah,
too many people are triggered by certain things. You can't close down a conversation as long as you're having an adult, open, healthy dialogue that's not aggressive, and it's all good. People that might want to crap on an IP, you ignore that. People that want to close down a discussion because they're a happy clapper, regardless, right? It's not great, those outliers. So I think it's good that we've tonight, again, another show been on that some different opinions, but it's very adult, very objective, very respectful. And that's what we want. And and that helps promote. People complain about forums and the toxicity. People like on these shows and the panels and the chat, you can help change that aspect, because there are some people out there that are feeling things that's not great.
Yeah.
And it's not good for these type of shows where we have good conversations. And
I think you're right. It allows people to have the conversation, and I'm smiling as you're talking there, because I can automatically think of a number of my friends that I just wouldn't have this kind of conversation with, because I know it's just not worth the fight, because they don't want to hear a discussion. They don't want to hear someone else's view. It's just, my view is the view, and anybody else I'm going to get quite arsey with and angry with, So it is, and I think that stifles the debate and the discussion. You should always be allowed to speak and voice your views, your thoughts, and your opinions, as long as you do it in a respectful, polite manner,
Yeah, I think as well. It's otherwise you're creating these echo chambers where people are just yes men, and they just say exactly what the presenter or the panel all say the same thing, and it's not entertaining, realistic, because that's not what really people think. And I think we've got to create these forums more and more. And I think this is what I'm going to probably look to do more and more of, having these conversations, because I think it's important. Because for me, for the 1/6, even though I do collect sometimes as well, I checked out of it because it was just kind of like, this is the same conversation and it's the same level of toxicity that you'll find in a lot of fandoms and stuff. And you're just like, oh, come on, let's be real here. Do we have to be like this? Can we just enjoy something or not enjoy something, or we'll like something constructively? And I think having these conversations is great, because there's a vast polarization. You either like it, you either love it or you hate it, and you can't be in the middle. And a lot of the internet, which is just ridiculous to me, because I think you've got to have a nuanced approach to your criticism, to your feelings of stuff.
So you not to blow smoke up your backside, Rich, but you hit it on the head just before there. You gave your opinion, and it wasn't as positive, shall we say, about the first couple of episodes. I gave my opinion, and your response was something along the lines of, "Oh, I'm pleased you enjoyed it."
Yeah.
Great. Thanks very much. You validated my opinion whilst not poo-pooing it and telling us I'm wrong. Do you know what I mean? That's what it should be.
Yeah, definitely.
Although Rich, anybody that doesn't like Yellowstone, they're not allowed on this show ever. Right?
Very true. That's very true. leading us on to Yellowstone, I will quickly have a look at some of the chat before we do go. Business model had more merchandise, more sales from Blu-rays, releases, digital, and so on. I'm assuming he's talking about the franchise and stuff. Final shot, next episode of Thrawn, entire finale, I'm guessing. I hope so. And then constructive criticism gives a different perspective. Yes, totally agree. Thank you, Eddie. And thank you. Is it? Because I've never known him as a different name. Is it Phil at Empire Strikes?
Yes.
Is it Phil? Hi, Phil. Hope you're well. Thank you for obviously supporting as well.
He's a good Welshman.
Is he Welsh? I always assumed he was American because he was always on the streams and stuff. Oh, he's a leaky, is he?
Yeah.
Good man.
He's a good man. He's a good man.
Oh, no doubt. But he's been a great support, so I appreciate that. So we're going to talk about, first of all, Peter, I've never asked you, have you ever watched Yellowstone?
I haven't. It's on me. I've got so much stuff that I try and watch. It's on my list to watch, and it's one of these ones there. It's a few seasons.
Sorry, he had to go then.
You shower of bastards.
Oh, I've always wanted to do that.
Ejected. Charming.
See you later.
No, mate, no, I haven't. It's on my list. It's on my list. But I'm excited to find out what you guys think of it because I hear a lot of praise about it. So I'm looking forward to what you say.
I'm gonna do a series of videos of different stuff different shows and stuff I like. But Yellowstone is something that is one of the best shows I've ever seen. And the universe that's been created around that as well has been some of the best television. So 1923, 1883, I think it is. Yeah. But yeah, it's yeah. My wife said that's your homework before next stream to watch it. You got a lot. You got to get on it. 1883 is. So basically, it's a family in Montana that have this huge ranch, and it's the Dutton Ranch, and it is set in the present day with Kevin Costner as basically the head of the family, and his family has had this ranch, this land for such a long period of time, and he's very protective over it. I am really butchering and being really paraphrasing the whole thing, but it's a fantastic show. It's just unbelievably the way it's been written by Taylor Sheridan. It's just a fantastic show, and it's in its 5th season. And what's happened is basically, so to tell you, people have not seen it, I've told you what it's about. It's about his family, but there are a number of spin-offs that have been released as well. So 1883 and 1923. 1883 is 10 episodes, and you could watch that on its own, and you don't have to see anything else in theory. But it is just basically a man with his family, protecting his family, going across the plains to find new land and a new life for his family. And it is absolutely incredible. So it's 10 episodes. It's on Paramount Plus. You can go on it there. And then 1923 is a relative of the first season, so the 1883. I'm saying too many numbers here. I'm going to be confusing people. But so that's basically starring Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren.
Oh, Harrison Ford. All right.
Yeah, man, it's amazing. And
big names attached.
It's got Timothy Dalton in it as well. It's just some of the best television, and it's fantastic. So that's on the first season. That first season came out this year, and then they're going to be doing second season, I think, next year. Obviously, the writers' strike and the actors' strike, it's obviously making it a bit difficult, but it's unbelievable. So, yes, my wife also said Tulsa King as well, with Stallone, is also a spin-off related to the same universe. They're not so much tied to it, but it's also written within the Taylor Sheridan universe. You have to watch Yellowstone. Watch the first couple of episodes of Yellowstone. I would say focus on the main story, so the main present day, and then go into the other bits because it expands the universe. So what we are currently at now is the 5th season. We're halfway through the 5th season, and we are at a point where Kevin Costner has obviously had a massive resurgence with his career due to this show. He's paid a massive amount of money an episode. He's the highest paid actor in TV. And what's happening is he is obviously he's the lead in the show. They've just finished the first half of the 5th season, and they're going to finish it at the end of the 5th season. So they're basically going to finish his character and finish the show at the last half of the season. It hasn't been filmed yet, hasn't been written yet, hasn't been filmed or anything. So what's happened is due to the fact that Kevin Costner is wanted to take some time away from filming, because obviously he's the lead in the show. He wanted to take a bit of time away to film this series of films that he's always wanted to do called Horizon. And so there's been a lot of back and forth. He's currently going through a divorce at the minute as well. And so it's come out that he's not going to be in season 6, if they even do season 6. And what they've now announced is that the show is going to finish at the end of season 5, which is such a shame because they've got a lot to do in the next half of the season.
But sorry, Rich, but he's going to be in the next half of the season, or is he out?
Well, we're hoping so.
Okay,
we're hoping so, because there's a lot of things that they owe him, like 20 million and all this stuff like this. So there's a lot of back and forth. He's quite loggerheads with the creator Taylor Sheridan. So there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and it's causing a lot of uncertainty in terms of what they're going to do with the show. I'm very intrigued to see what they do. I hope they don't rush it, because it's been so well written and so well done. But all accounts, this is not confirmed, but they're having a lot of conversations about it. Matthew McConaughey is going to take over. Either he's going to take over the ranch, or further on down the line, he maybe acquires the ranch, or maybe it's going to be a spin-off of the 1923 ilk. So yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. Ian, you watched Yellowstone. What did you think to it?
Yellowstone's one of the best TV content I've ever watched. The whole Taylor Sheridan's a genius as far as I'm concerned. So we talk about character development. So Peter, in this, apart from storytelling, the character development on each person in this, and there's some very, very big personalities in this. There's lots of violence, but it's
a lot of feisty ladies.
Oh yeah, it's so compelling. One of my sisters, she adores this. She got right on, and when I told her about it, and she just binged. She loves it. Anybody I've recommended this to, I don't know anybody that doesn't love it. I'm not talking about like it, I mean love it. It's fantastic. As Rich says before, you know, there's the spin-offs, 1883 and 1923, the stuff that's maybe going to happen with Matthew McConaughey. It's fantastic, but it's all linked in this world. But it's the character development that I love. And
the acting's awesome. Just so fantastic. I mean, just it's absolutely perfect as a show. It's Soprano-esque, it's Godfather-esque in terms of its tone, but then there's some elements of it where it's a very much a love letter to that kind of the West and the cowboy and all that kind of stuff as well. So it's got a really good feel to it, and it's just spectacular. It really is. I can't praise it enough. I recommended it to Shane once it's scale focus, and he's loved it as well. I think I got him to start from 1883, and then he's kind of worked into it then. So it's it's a big recommendation for everyone out there. I'll be doing a video recommending it as well, but that's just something that I thought to mention as well, because I thought for a different perspective, just have a chat about that.
Well, you've sold us, so I will. Is it something my wife would watch, do you think?
Yes, 100%. 100%. Yeah. Just, I would say, I think the first episodes, I think it's about an hour and a half, I think. I think it's in 2 parts, like the first and second episode. There's a bit of a continuation of that one. So it's worth watching those 2 back to back, like over a couple of nights, maybe. And it's on Paramount Plus. I think you can get like a a free trial on that if you haven't already got
I think
it.
we've got it on Sky. I think.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's something that it's one of the best shows I've ever seen, and it's something that me and my wife Katie have been saying about going back to it and actually seeing it from the beginning and then working his way through it again. So I think it'll be well worth it. But yeah, so I appreciate today and appreciate this evening, and this is the first of hopefully many of Reviews with Rich Live. And it's something I've very much enjoyed today. You guys enjoyed it? You had a good time?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it's not much of a slow news day as it has been today. But we've obviously got we can chat next week. It'd be lovely to see you guys again.
Absolutely.
And we will be talking about next week, hopefully, or the next episode that we do, the death of the comic book movies, if that's actually on the horizon or if it's going to take a different form. So everybody out there, if you've not already, I'm assuming you have, subscribed to my channel, which is Reviews with Rich on Instagram and YouTube. Follow Agent Silver Fox on Instagram and Triple G Comics Peter. What have you got coming up on your channel? Because you've got far more than I have.
Christ, everything. So I'm
do way too much.
Ridiculous amounts. So I've got a couple of videos out. I can't remember what this week's 6th scale figure is. Last week it was Judge Dredd. I've got a feeling this week it might be I can't remember. I don't know. I haven't got a clue. But we've got something coming out. I've got a live show with the guys on Thursday night where we're over in the Killer Comic Show. Friday night I've got a live show where we're doing our monthly comic picks, and then Saturday I've got my Saturday night geeky catch up. So yeah, lots going on.
That's great. So for me, I have the Man with No Name due to hit my doorstep very soon from Sideshow, which I'm hoping to do a video on. I've also got this, which I'm going to do a video on as well, which is the McFarlane The Flash Batmobile. So this will keep me going until the Hot Toys one comes out. So I'm going to do a quick video on that. Even if it's just a short, I might just do it. But I want to start doing a few more videos. And I've got some recommendations I'll be doing soon as well. So, yeah. And obviously, hopefully, this time next week, we'll be doing another show. So if everybody out there who have enjoyed today's show, let me or the guys know on Instagram. Give us a like. Give us a share. Share the love. And thank you very much to everyone who's stuck by us. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And One Piece, Rich. Nice piece, Rich. I said One Piece. Yes, thank you very much, Phil. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a great evening and a great week, and I will see you very soon. Take care.
Cheers, Rich.